team that Liverpool is building. As everyone is focused on Mbappe and Jude Bellingham and Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Marcus Rashford, Rafinha, while everyone is looking at these teams that are being built and the mega team Madrid built and the young mega team, even though it's young kids, the mega team that PSG built through spending money over time, but really building young, Liverpool has quietly spent a lot without people really looking their way. You know, when Chelsea did it, a lot of people made fun of them. When City did it, a lot of people made fun of them. And now Liverpool's doing it. And no one's making fun of them because it's just become the norm for us now. When PSG spent a ton of money, it was low-key the norm. I feel like my camera's really bright, and I apologize, y'all. When PSG did it, it was we made fun of it because it had never really been done like that before, right? That to that level, not in modern football. And then City did it, but then Chelsea did it, and we kind of made fun of them. But now it's kind of just becoming the norm for a team every season to go crazy. And right now, Liverpool is going absolutely crazy, and the team they are building is very scary. One, because Isak is proven in the Premier League already, right? Wirtz is proven in the Bundesliga and proven in the German national team. These are not just like players that you're like, when they bought Darwin Nunez and that he's still young and you're like, okay, is Darwin going to hit or is Darwin not going to hit? Okay, Darwin could be good, but we got to see if he develops. It's not something like that. They're buying players that are absolutely ginormous in our sport. Players that any team in Europe would be happy with. Look, if you ask the Barca fan if they would take Isak, they would say yes. A Benfica fan, a Madrid fan, a PSG fan. Almost any team. Listen, City fans with Haaland would say, yeah, we'll play a 4-4-2. We would take him and play a 4-4-2. Anyone, even if you have a 9 on your team, you would still take him and play a 4-4-2, right? Because you're not going to say no to Isak. It's like crazy. And the way it's all going down, the way he waited for Gyökeres to sign for Arsenal, I think that was more, the world went crazy, by the way. And there's a few things I want to talk about. I want to talk about Liverpool. I want to talk about the Saudi Arabian League and Joao Felix in a minute. And I want to talk about Luis Diaz. All this is very important. There's a lot to talk about. But a lot of people think that Isak was like, oh man, Isak finessed Arsenal. He did not want to go to Arsenal. He did not want to go to Arsenal. He hates Arsenal. Like, he didn't want to go play there, so he waited so he would go to a different team. He told Newcastle that he wanted to leave after. I call BS and nonsense to that. He's Swedish, y'all. He plays with Gyökeres on the national team. Him and Gyökeres and even the agent, maybe they were all involved, and they were like, hey, before you say you want to leave, can we get this Arsenal deal locked up? Because if he would have said that and they would have pulled out of Gyökeres deal and went for Isak every summer when it's time to go to the international team, Gyökeres is gonna be like, damn, man, you were kind of the reason my deal fell through. Like, that was my dream move. You understand? Not only would it personally, they would see each other for many years. They're both not old. They're going to be in the national team together. It could mess up the vibes of the national team. I think Isak actually did his boy and his teammate, maybe not his boy, but the guy he knows. I think he actually did him nice, right? I think that was a good move from Isak, right? He didn't go and mess up another Swedish player's big move, right? So I respect Isak when it comes to that. I don't respect how players are treating teams right now, and we'll talk about that. But I do respect that he kind of respected the Gyökeres move and the Gyökeres deal before he went and did what he did. The one thing I don't really like right now is, you know what makes American sports kind of trash? And I've always thought of this. Like, I grew up here, lads, but I always thought about it. Players have so much control. If a player wants to leave your team, they tell you they want to trade, and the team has to trade them pretty much. Right now, my Washington Commanders, my American football team, we have a wide receiver called Terry McLaurin. He's like my favorite player on the team. He's been here for years. He has one more year in his contract, and he's just sitting out. He showed up today, but he's not really doing stuff with the team. He's sitting out until they give him a deal. That's what they do here in America. If they're on 1 year of their contract left, they usually don't play it through. If they're a superstar, they wait for an extension so they don't get injured or something, which is good for the player. But they have so much control in American sports. They want to be traded. They demand a trade. That's it. They want to sit out the last year so they can get paid. They do that. In European football, it wasn't like that, but it's becoming that, right? Like, Joao Felix pretty much demanded a move out of Chelsea, right? And to the point where he was supposed to lock up with Benfica, goes to Saudi Arabia. Isak waits for Gyökeres to sign, demanding to leave. Gyökeres demanded to leave. There is many players demanding to leave their clubs now in our sport. And it just doesn't sit well with me because I feel like football players used to really respect the teams they were at. But now we're seeing it more and more, that players are just demanding. And I just don't remember this growing up. I really don't remember it that much. There's always been players that force, like Neymar kind of forced his way out of Barca. I remember it. Like he fought with Nelson Smith at training. There was like a lot of negative stuff around. He kind of forced his way out of there. But demanding to leave and stuff is not something that we often see. But anyways, it seems that Bayern Munich has locked up Luis Diaz for 75 million, which now gives, I think, the opportunity for them to chase Isak. And that's why I'm even talking this, because it seems like they're going to free up money to be able to chase Isak and build this insane mega team, because the team would look like Isak at the striker. By the way, I think Darwin Nunez will leave, right? So now if you get 75 for Luis Diaz, and let's say you get, I don't know, 50 million for Darwin Nunez, that's over 100 million. I mean, that's the Isak money right there, right? So you're gonna have to pay like 100 and something. They want a record fee for Isak. You have to pay crazy money, but they got, if they do move Darwin Nunez, then that's a pretty big move. Joao Felix, his contract is going to be until 2027. It was locked up that he was coming to Benfica. It was pretty much almost done, and he was going to come to Benfica, and Benfica fans were really excited, and he was going to revive his career. I was really happy. I'm a big fan of Joao Felix. I was scared for Benfica because it was going to be a record signing. And it's very scary for Benfica for two reasons. One, moving players for us is very important because it's just what we have to do. We're not a Premier League team, a Spanish team. We don't have those TV deals coming in. You got to move players, right, to stay afloat. So I was very excited for him to come to Benfica, but I was also very worried because it was a lot of money, and this is money that we were going to spend that we were never going to be able to move again. Maybe we would get a deal of like 50 million, but you weren't going to make bank because he didn't work at Barca, he didn't work at Chelsea, he didn't work at Atletico Madrid. So you start to look at the places he didn't work out. He didn't work out at AC Milan, and you start going, well, will a team ever come and buy him again for that type of money when they know he didn't work out in other places? So it was going to be a deal where you sign him, and he could be with you for a long time, and you never make that money again. We bought Rios from Brazil, from the Brazilian league, the Colombian guy, and he came in for a big money, 20 million plus 5 or something. And that's a crazy big deal for a Portuguese team, but the potential to move him for 60, 70, 80 million is very high because you guys saw how good he was at the Club World Cup. You guys saw how good he was at Palmeiras, and he's already started his first game at Benfica. He looked really good. So the chance of moving him for 50 plus is huge. So it makes sense, but moving Joao Felix again for 50 plus was going to be very hard. So the deal was taking forever. Benfica didn't want to do 25 million for 50% of his pass and then if an offer came in for 50, Benfica had to sell him. Benfica didn't want to do that. I respect Rui Costa not going for that. I'm not the biggest fan of how Rui Costa has moved lately at Benfica, but the fact that he didn't take a 25 plus 50, and then if a 50 mil offer came in, they would have to sell because Chelsea has the same amount of pool. They could be like, hey, that's a good enough. We can get some of our money back, sell him completely. Because if they got 25 from Benfica and then an offer of 50 came in and they have 50%, they get another 25. That's their 50 million, right? So they would want to sell him instantly. So Benfica wanted to be able to control it more, have more percentage of how his future went. And while this deal is taking forever to go through, Benfiquista fans are going crazy on Instagram, like, and on social media, is just blaming Rui Costa and stuff. I think Benfica made the right move. Suppose this guy's gonna make like 70 million in 2 years, right? So he's gonna go there until 2027. If Benfica really wants him, get him for free in 2027. You can get him for free in 2027. He's gonna be on the market for free. But Benfica paying 25 million, right? If he doesn't re-sign with Saudi Arabia, he can come there free if he really wants to move that move. To pay 25 million for 55% of his pass, Chelsea controls if they can move him again to, listen, hear me out, lads. You pay 25, you get 50%, Chelsea stays with 50%. An offer in January comes in at 50 million from Saudi Arabia. Chelsea was gonna go, sell him. We want to sell. And Benfica's like, nah, now you get in this argument with Chelsea, or now you have to sell, right? So Benfica gets their 25 million back that they gave for him. And then Chelsea gets another 25 into their pocket. They got 20 from Benfica, 20 from Al Nassr, let's just say. They got their 50 that they paid for him in the beginning. They get their money back. They're out of it. And Benfica paid 25 million, built him back up, found offers for him, and then lose him when it's, I don't like the move. It's just a move that didn't make sense to Benfica. It's a move that didn't make sense to Chelsea. It's a move that didn't make sense for Joao Felix's pocket. So at the end of the day, I understand that not happening. For Joao Felix, I thought this was the best move for his career, could get him back into the European light, but maybe get himself back to a big European team eventually. It didn't happen. He went to Saudi Arabia. I have no hard feelings against Joao Felix. I think for Benfica it was a big risk. I think for Chelsea they weren't going to make their money. The only way they were going to make their money is if they stayed with 50% of the 50% of the pass. And right when a big deal came in, they were going to want to sell him. Benfica was going to have to lose a player. I don't want that for Benfica future. I don't want Benfica to have to determine if Chelsea wants to move a player. So I'm kind of glad the deal didn't go through. Benfiquistas are freaking out, but it just wasn't a smart deal for Benfica. I don't like buying players on 50-50s and this and that. It's not a good move. It's not a smart investment. I would much rather Benfica take this 25 million that they were going to give Joao Felix. There's a young Greek guy named Giannis that can play the cam type position. Y'all know who I'm talking about? Listen, take that 20 million, go try to get him there. Go find a cam somewhere else. What Benfica needs more than anything, in my opinion, lads, is not even a cam. For Joao Felix, I would say, okay, yeah, but we had a cam and coach you, we didn't use him there. I think Benfica need a right winger. Take that 20 million, go buy yourself a right winger. Arthur Kuglu on the left, a right winger on the right, a new one. Pavlidis at the striker position. In the middle of the park, you got my boy Rios, the new signing. You got Rios, you got you still have Florentino on the team. You have Enzo, the new signing. You also have this young kid, João Veloso, or something like that we have that looks pretty promising. Bro, we're set in the midfield. We upgrade our midfield what was needed the most. Joao Felix wasn't a need. It was going to be awesome for us, but I don't think Benfica needed Joao Felix. And I don't think Benfica fans should be freaking out about Joao Felix. I think there's other needs that we need, like a right winger, right? If we don't want a right winger, then we're talking about getting Ivanovic or something. I forget. I'm not sure exactly what his name, but he's a striker, and that we're talking about paying 20 million. Cool. Let's get him and run a 4-4-2, right? With Rios and Enzo as our midfielders, Arthur Kuglu and a right winger. If it's not Thiago Gouveia, you go out and get a right mid, Arthur Kuglu, two strikers, two midfielders, and Enzo and Rios. Then you have Florentino off the bench with Barreiro or whoever it is for you off the bench as your backups. You still have Manu coming back off of injury, so you can have Florentino and Manu. E tá bom, pá. A gente assim, tá bom, pá. Like, I want Joao Felix. I love Joao Felix. But, bro, he got an opportunity to go make freaking like 70 mil a season, 2 seasons with Ronaldo. Like, and look, for Joao Felix, lads, y'all can say what y'all want. He's with Ronaldo. Ronaldo kind of has so much pull on that national team. If they become good friends and they play good together, he's going to make the national team every year. He's going to make the World Cup. It was smart for him. He could go to Benfica, not really work out, and Benfica not play him, right? Because he's just not playing well. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't make the World Cup. He's going to Ronaldo now. He plays well. He's going to get a bunch of money in his pocket for 2 years, and he gets to probably go to the World Cup. It was a win-win for Joao Felix. It was a win-win. There was no losing here. The Al Nassr knew. Now, how do y'all feel about it? And that's why I wanted to bring up the Saudi Arabian League. How do you feel about a 25-year-old player that was once upon a time the golden boy, right? Award winner, flopped in a bunch of different countries, a bunch of different teams, didn't work out, and now is going to Saudi Arabia at 25 years young and going to make a massive paycheck. For me as a person, if I was Joao Felix, a fan of him, I'm happy for him. He's about to get paid out. As the footballer, I'm disappointed because I thought he would work at AC Milan. I thought he would work at Chelsea. I thought this guy had bright future and was going to make Portuguese national team so much better, and I hope it still happens. So I'm disappointed in that. But how do y'all feel about this, y'all? How do y'all feel about Saudi Arabia offering so much where players can't really say no? He was going to come to Benfica. It was going to be really hard for Benfica and Chelsea to make an agreement, but he wanted to come to Benfica. He was going to make not even close to what he's making in Saudi Arabia. And when that money comes in, is he a trader on Benfica? Is he his heart's not with Benfica? No, dude. You got to remember, man, we all have jobs. We all have lives. We all have families. He might never see a big paycheck again, ever. And I know they still make millions at Benfica and stuff, but this is life-changing money, right? Are you going to go with your heart and play for Benfica again, which you've played at already and had success there, and help them make a lot of money, right? Or are you going to go get life-changing money for 2 years and then be able to sign wherever you want? For me, lads, the answer is easy. I'm going to make sure my family's good. And in 2 years, 2027, I'm a free agent. I'm still only 27 years old. He's 25 now, 26, 27, 2027, like 27, 28. Still got 5-6 years in front of him in his career. Can sign anywhere he wants. He got his payday. He's played at the big teams in Europe. He's done that. Got his payday. And now he can go play at Benfica again or wherever he wants to sign. For me, lads, this is a win-win. It's exactly what a player wants from football. Now, did he get the Champions Leagues and the Ballon d'Or? Not everybody's Messi and Ronaldo. Not everybody's that, right? He got his payday. He won things. He won the things with the Portuguese national team. He's won things. He didn't have success in Europe. And at this point in his career, he's probably thinking to himself, he's doubting himself, right? Because he was going to come back to Benfica regardless. So he's probably doubting himself at the big teams. He has an opportunity where his career is not at a high to go get the most money he's ever made in his career and then be free in 2 years. For me, it's a W. And to be honest with you guys, I think the Saudi Arabian League is a blessing to some players. It's a blessing for some players that would probably never make that type of money in their lives, have an opportunity to get paid a ton. So in my opinion, it sucks for European football that we're losing a lot of players that a lot of us really love to that type of stuff. But at the same time, it's a blessing because it's a good league over there. From what I've heard, I don't really watch. They say it's a pretty good league. We saw some of the teams in the Club World Cup play well. It's a pretty good league, and you get a crazy good payday. So for the players, I think it's a W. We saw Neymar do it. Joao Felix is doing it. Ronaldo did it. And you're also seeing in the MLS too. You see Messi. He's getting all of his boys. I think DePaul can still play in Europe. I don't think DePaul's done, but he gets to play with his boy Messi, so he made that choice. So you're seeing it in a lot of places where you're seeing more. I think we're in a place right now in football, lads, where we're actually seeing more of players kind of take care of themselves more than the sport. Right? WL in the comments if you agree or disagree with me. I think we're seeing players take more care of themselves and more about them than we do about the sport. And if you look at the old players like, the Schneiders and the Vieiras and all those from that era, did those guys take care of themselves as much as, or was it a lot of more loyalty? Like, for example, Totti could have probably made crazy money. Right? Totti could have been a player that made crazy money. There's players that stayed at Liverpool for many years that could have made crazy money. And they stayed, and there was a lot of loyalty in football. We don't really see that as much anymore. The players take care more of themselves. But also, lads, we also see one thing, and I want everybody to get this straight. We also see that teams are treating this more like a business. The amount of games they're making these players play, how quick they flip players, how quick we see it. We see it. There's not many teams out there that are real good to their players all the time, right? We see that. We see that. We see that. We see it both ways. Players not being good to teams not being good to players. So I don't want to just blame players, but it does feel a little weird. Recently, I've gotten a lot of love in my heart for Liverpool, and I hope they win a Champions League. I do, and I hope they win the league because if the story is real, from what I've read, they're paying off the rest of Jota's contract to his family. And all that is extremely nice. That is extremely awesome. I hope they win things. I hope a team like that has a lot of success being loyal to, if the story's real, and I believe it is, retiring the number, doing everything they did. I think that's extremely amazing what they're doing for the family. And for me, I want to see a team like that have success because it's more than football. Anyways, I love you guys, man. Let me know how you guys feel about Isak down below. Luis Diaz to Bayern. Please let me know in the comments down below. And Joao Felix leaving as well. Again, I gave you my points. I'm a Benfiquista, and I would love to have him at Benfica, but I understand, my friends. I understand business. I understand that there's a big check out there for him, and in 2 years he's free, still being young, and can sign pretty much anywhere he wants after that. Honestly, he might have helped Benfica, because if he does come to Benfica in 2 years, or if he does want to return to Portugal and he wants to come to Benfica in 2 years, he comes back with his pockets loaded. He probably played in the World Cup, and he can go wherever he wants. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Booyah, baby. We out of here.